What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Another edition of Holy Try Football Podcast. It's me, AY, coming to you from the beautiful capital of the, well, for now, Blue State. We'll see. I know everyone's excited for this. The Commonwealth, the battleground state of Pennsylvania.
All eyes.
All eyes.
But not the presidential ones, at least.
Now we'll
Be on the game this weekend.
I have a little tie into this ride joke later on. It'll come full circle.
Yeah, we will have a potentially
We'll see
this time next
But
week.
We'll have it'll be total anarchy because I'm sure there'll be plenty of uproar next Tuesday with the first edition of the CFP rankings. The internet
the polls will be abuzz.
The internet will be absolutely ablaze when two worlds are just firing off. But we'll get to that on Tuesday. So here we are, Week 10 preview. To my west, D-Berg, what's up?
Talk to me 11:30 on Saturday evening.
Okay, Ken, I almost missed it here. D-Berg with the bomb drop over the weekend.
Oh,
I did. Yeah. The holy date has become the holy fiance second in command, I guess. Gina the first.
She got her wings. She got her wings.
Yep. And will there be a third? Could we have a triumvirate of holy fiancés?
There could be a run. Stay tuned. Can to my east. What's up? Let me guess. You're enjoying the last day of warm weather.
I've been saying it for a month.
The last 6 weeks.
Enjoy the last gasp of summer. Get another record 78er, I think, tomorrow.
I know, yeah. Oh,
I'm looking at the 10-day also. It looks like 75 next Wednesday. So
holy smokes.
Yeah, we get a nice
next Tuesday, Wednesday.
A nice chill for the weekend, but it will warm up again.
Dew points looks amazing for Saturday, by the way.
No, absolutely incredible weather in Center County, which we will get to. For those wondering at home, that's probably a red county. Not probably, it is. If you're keeping
Center County is definitely not a red county. For those that don't grasp the sarcasm there.
Yes. I was telling somebody the other day, I would rather eat my own head than talk to someone about politics. So
that's politics-free zone here.
Well, yeah. So yes, this is all very firm, tongue in cheek. It is the season, but we are on the cusp of Halloween, as the Yankees are looking to extend the Fall Classic. We're in Week 10, the last week before the playoff rankings, like we alluded to. But before we get to the Week 10 slate, which has two ranked matchups, both involving Holy Tri teams.
We are the epicenter.
The epicenter is here. We have Week 9 to review, and all of us with something to be happy about after Dan kicked us off on Thursday night with that showing.
Whatever the hell that was, it was good, I guess.
That was Pitt. Three pick sixes.
I
mean, at this point, Dan, you can't go to a game this year, right? You're not. The Voodoo's too.
Well, if they go to the championship game, I would go. If they go to the playoffs, I will go. Well, that has been the policy.
What if you're the problem?
Lock, stock, and barrel ever since December of 2023. What's that?
What if you're the reason?
No.
That they're doing so well.
I mean, they won. They were basically, 3 years ago. So I don't think I'm the reason for that.
That's true. How far are you from Cincinnati? Were you threatening for that one?
What, this year?
Yeah, this past year, the game.
No, no. It's not. I'm like from Cleveland. It's basically what it is from Pittsburgh. 4.5 hours. From Columbus, it's easier. I infamously went to a Braves Reds game with Roth, on the eve of my departure from Columbus in 2021. And that's an easy 50-minute drive down the chute to basically Kentucky. But yeah, it's not close to answer your initial question. No.
Got it.
I was going to go, I guess, when they played them in 2012, I could have gone there. Would have contemplated going there, but that was a Friday night game. 2010, that was, I believe that was the game after they got smoked by West Virginia when they had those stupid pro combat uniforms. Prior to that, I would not have.
I like those uniforms. What was that?
You like the Pitt ones, the black and navy blue?
Yeah, I did. I like that matte blue look that you had on the helmets.
Yeah, I was not nearly as much as a fan. The West Virginia ones look cool, but
any takeaways from that defensive performance?
I just have no idea what to expect. This is the weirdest collection of results I can think of, and that's saying something for Pitt. You have two crazy comebacks led by the offense. You have that performance, or you have the performance against the woke agenda, who, like, they did, as I said, didn't play well. They were like letting him get to the 20 every drive practically, and then something would happen. They either get like sacks or missed short field goals. And then Thursday, it was like, just completely smothering against the team that was moving the ball pretty regularly on pretty much everyone. So I have no idea what to expect. I've given up and just see what happens.
That's coming out of the bye, though, right?
I guess, but they had a bye before. Then they were, what's his name from North Carolina was moving the ball on him too.
Speaking of North Carolina, pretty good performance by Mac getting off the mat this weekend.
Yeah. So, I have no idea what to expect come Saturday or in any of the other games here on in.
Well,
you got game day coming up against Clemson, I think, in a couple weeks if you can keep pulling it out. And Clemson holds there.
I would think so. Yeah. I mean, that point, at this point, that would put them at what, 9-0, and then Clemson would presumably be either 8-1 or 9-1, whatever they would be at that point. So,
yep.
Yeah, I would think that would be would call for it.
Our first major step to Charlotte is this weekend. We'll get to the SMU game, but I guess just to cover that, they escaped Duke with all those turnovers.
Oh, that was gross. 6 turnovers, and I think it's the first time a team's lost while having 6 turnovers or being plus 6 like that since like 2000. First time in like not first time, but it's been like once in like 700 games or something like that. I forget what the number is.
And they still only outgained them by, I'm looking now, 76 yards.
I mean, Marshall did it in some game, I forget, and won. But other than that, it's like maybe the second one to ever do it. That was gross. Other ACC results.
Since you mentioned 6 turnovers, we could.
Oh, you want to talk about your 6 turnovers you received?
We can just talk about the sunken battleships.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, yeah.
I don't think it was too hard to see this one coming.
Self-inflicted. I mean, I was joking with various threads that obviously we knew the negative regression to turnover margin would come. I just didn't think it would come in one game.
Yeah.
I mean, Notre Dame was still you could tell early on.
They punt.
You could tell early on from the tone of that was going to be Notre Dame could do what they want with the ball, but I mean, Navy did just gift wrap them so many points. So
absolutely.
2 punts for although 2 punts for the middies as well. That's kind of funny.
Yeah. Biggest thing, definitely the biggest thing was no injuries.
Yeah.
At least disclosed. I know the Benjamin Morrison injury was definitely under wraps until that came out, but credit to Leonard Moore. He's been just awesome in his replacement, and on to the bye week. So we will not be discussing more of Notre Dame this show. Good, quiet.
How about the one that cracked me up? I didn't see some of the other ones, but the how about the punt return attempt that just he dove and then it just clanged off his face mask or something like that. He wasn't really close to catching it. The guy, whoever it was, the punt returner for Navy. I was like, oh man, this isn't going so hot.
Two things from that. One is it was windy that day, so give him a little bit of pass.
So you just misjudged it.
There was 2 muff punts, 2 field goal miss that looked like they were both going in. Then the last second went wide, and the word on Rendell's punts from camp and summer camp was they're hard to catch. I'm not sure. I know Belichick always wanted that left-footed punter because it's a different spin. Rendell's right-footed, but I don't know if it comes off his foot weird, the spin or what. But apparently his punts are more difficult to
tricky.
catch. But I think it's the first time we've seen muff punts this year. So, although his punting early in the year was pretty awful, it was all just 30 yards, and hopefully it bounces 30 yards one way instead of the other. But yeah, it was self-inflicted. It was tough to watch at times.
And this kicks Navy out of the playoff, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, now, I mean, they can't really even play spoiler because they don't get Army till after the playoffs done, unless they mean the AAC.
They play each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Does Army gets Tulane?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them definitely does. I think it's Army.
That's Tulane's lurking, and they.
Oh no, they don't.
Oh.
Is it Navy then? Let's see. Navy gets them.
Oh, did he do it again?
Stan?
Yeah, it was Stan.
Seventh homer of the postseason. Jesus.
Jeez.
He did it.
He did it.
Yes.
All right, back to the ACC, Ken. Where are we going to? Oh, Miami.
Miami, disgusting. The team they were playing is disgusting. Florida State, they had that. I saw that quarterback sneak, and that was the only thing that really they could get to score. That torpedoed my 1H because I don't think they scored again until it was garbage time. But,
an incredible sneak.
Yeah, it was very funny. I haven't seen anything like that before. I don't know what to make of Florida State here. It doesn't seem like they can just turn it around, right?
Certainly not this season.
I'm not talking about this year. I mean, like for the future. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they kind of would they go the year 2022? They won 9 games.
Yeah, they had 3 losses in the middle of the season, but then won. Everything going away, I think, after that.
Yeah, I think that's the vibe that. Well, that's what FSU Michael said. I was watching that night slate with him, and on the Far TV we had that game on.
Oh,
and I mean, yeah, he was even just like, yeah. Time before that, we're watching the SMU game, and I was like, "Who's quarterback next year?" And he's like, "Well, you might be looking at him." So he's not really, as far as future, not very bright in his eyes.
right.
Yeah, I mean, but at this point, they could just go and get whoever.
But there's still
not whoever, but
there's the off-season bankroll in the portal, so you could patchwork something, but not super optimistic.
Yeah. Left for dead. It's remarkable the turnaround, and Miami's on the trail right now, hitting it hard. They're doing pretty good on the trail. So we can go back in time. Friday night. You want to go over that Boise UNLV game, or do you want to go over the Rutgers USC game? We can review either one.
I didn't watch much of the Gers USC game.
The other one, the Boise looked pretty good. UNLV did a great job limiting Genty. It's funny, like you talk about an off game, 30 carries for like 100. How many yards he had? Like 180, something like that.
It was 130.
130.
Yeah, it wasn't. That was another thing I was going to ask if that's the end of his campaign.
I would. I mean, he could always come back and like have a couple of big 200 yarders the next couple.
I feel like you literally in this competition level of competition, you have to just roast everybody to actually win it, not get the invite, not get the Keegan Reynolds.
Keenan Reynolds.
Yeah, excuse me, Keenan Reynolds.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring this up, but I'm going to just because it made me so mad. Did you guys see Dennis Dodd's tweet yesterday?
No, what did it say?
He put out his top 5 Heisman right now.
No
Yeah.
Genty.
No Genty. One was Hunter.
That's
And
ridiculous.
in parentheses, he put 153 snaps. His number 5 was ahead of Genty. Was Marcel Reed.
Oh my God.
He sucks. I hate him.
I know Shador was on there. I don't remember all the other 2 that were on there, but I was just like, you have got to be kidding me.
Gross.
Is he an A&M guy or something?
I don't know. I was mad. I clicked on it.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about that game? I mean, LSU looked like they had it, and they absolutely imploded. Marcel Reed comes in, throws 2 passes, and obviously he provided the spark, but I'm not 100% sold here. I don't even know if he'll start here in this next game because of
that's the thing.
they're
Like,
ready
what Elko's doing with him and Wegman, it's working. He's playing matchups.
Exactly, and it's like you go with a different guy or you play a guy more because of like you said matchups. It's like a basketball game, but Kelly wasn't ready for it at all. He said as much the last couple of days. Now teams have to prepare for both, which is it's good for them, but now that teams are ready for it, I don't know if they'll have the same results. I don't think he's necessarily a revelation. You can't base it off of 2 passes, right? So it wouldn't surprise me to see them come back down to earth here. They're lucky they caught the lightning in a bottle. Were able to take care of business here against Kelly, but I wouldn't be surprised if a team comes in and is able to stifle them. But I don't think they have too much the rest of the way, right? I mean, they obviously have Texas at the end of the season, but how much more do they have? They only have 3 more SEC games, I think.
They got a tricky one this weekend.
Yeah. All right. If they can get past Auburn this weekend, right? Is it Auburn?
Scar.
Right. It is tricky. And then you're looking at Texas basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Elsewhere in SEC country, Bama took care of business at Mizzou. Thank you for getting those paper tigers out of here. I've had enough of them.
That was just gross.
Yeah. Texas.
Even money to make it. Interesting.
What was that?
I said A&M is even money to make the playoffs.
Texas with I mean, they look like they were in control the whole way against Vanderbilt, but they had an onside kick at the end that they had to recover to finish him off. Another good effort, I think, from Diego. Diego was excellent, awesome to watch. I think this team's well coached, and they're doing a great job with the guys that they have down there in Nashville. I think Kirkley's doing a great job. Really good work from all the Notre Dame defensive coordinators, huh?
Yeah, love to see Barkley succeeding. Now we just need to get one more chance for Van Gorder.
Michigan State, I don't think we really need to talk about it. Tuttle retiring, we can throw that in the news and notes, and now they've gone back to Davis Warren. He looked like they had some semblance of a passing game and took care of business against Marty. Indiana, I don't know. This team seems like, I don't want to say they're smoke and mirrors, but they definitely have some type of lightning in the bottle. The voodoo that they were getting is impressive. Are you guys believers in them as a true playoff contender? I mean, that schedule sets up amazingly. Right?
They've murdered everybody. So
they have.
About the smoke comment. But
that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's smoke and mirrors, but it definitely seems.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's smoke and mirrors, but I think they're definitely charmed. Some of these turnovers and they're not luck, they're like the luck plays. I don't think it's smoke and mirrors, but I do think they have been lucky with a lot of these games. Washington on the other side of it. I don't think I've seen a team in years be as bad in like critical situations. They're 80, I think probably 85% of the game they're playing great, and then the other 15%, it's not even like they're not playing great. They're literally just trash and absolutely like it. They're so bad in that other 15% that it costs them games. It's amazing to watch. The mistakes are. What's that?
I completely agree with that. I think like they're actually like pretty decent, except
yeah.
They have just one gigantic meltdown.
Those 15%
speed options with Will Rogers against.
Yeah, the 15% of plays, they're not just bad; they are devastatingly bad. If they were just normal bad, I think they'd be 2-3 wins better right now.
And they have a gross kicker.
Yeah, well, he is the gross kicker.
He is gross. Yes,
he is gross. Yes, him is gross. Oregon took care of business, smacked Illinois and Burt.
They could have won that game by 70 if they wanted to.
If they wanted to, yeah, they really throttled down there at the end, or not at the end, at the halftime. It was 35-3 at half, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
BYU catching points there, and I don't know how, or the disrespect that Vegas continues to give Kalani and
it's
team.
Not even. It's UCF has received respect.
Oh yeah, the respect for UCF has been astounding as well.
That's more what it was in this case because they were huge favorites against Colorado. They were favored against that Florida team.
Yeah,
they were only what were they against Iowa State? That's I guess where they played the level of their so-called power rating.
They did play up to the rating there.
But that was even that was like a what was it?
Oh no, they had readjusted actually. So they were 13.5-point underdogs. So people don't know what to do with this UCF team. It seems.
They remind me of St. Thomas basketball from the Summit League 2 years ago.
Oh.
I found that team every single game. The computers, the metrics in Vegas, everyone just obsessed with that team, and they just let you down every time.
Of course. Do you have anything else you wanted to touch on here, game-wise, from last week? Anyway, you have any extra thoughts for yours for the Navy, or are you done with that?
I'm done with that. The only thing that did was now it's the same circle every time. Notre Dame wins a game, and it's where does Notre Dame fit in the playoff now? Just can't. I'm over it. Well, I mean, do you want to?
Yeah, I'll touch on the Wisconsin real quick. It was,
I guess we'll close out with that.
Yeah, I wanted to see if there.
I mean, Ohio State struggled, but we'll get to that.
Oh yeah, we can certainly talk about that here in a later portion. But yeah, Penn State on the road, another gutsy win for the team, coming off a different road win, not the week before, but the game before. A comeback when they had to find themselves in another situation there, and it's begs the question, what's going on here? And it's not just on the road, but at home as well against Bowling Green, giving up that opening drive touchdown to Illinois. This defense, this team overall gets off to slow starts. You certainly can't afford that this week. The offense, it's strange because it's like you see them have these good drives and good plays. I don't think they're necessarily starting off slow. They drive all the way down the field. Jules has a drop, a terrible drop that he might have been able to walk into the end zone on. They fumbled. I didn't even realize it was a fumble until later on. They fumbled the snap on that QB sneak, and then Wisconsin holds, and so they're able to go down and have some pulling out of their horseshoe out of their ass conversions there. They're able to kick a field goal.
That fake, not fake. The lucky punt.
The lucky punt. They had another long third down conversion, I think, on that just unbelievable drive. They go down, score 3 points. Penn State responds. They score the touchdown. They look like they're in command for the most part, but then they give up the touchdown there before the half, and then Drew gets hurt. Adversity hitting the team. They're in the locker room with a deficit. Bo comes out, looks shaky for the first couple of drives. Defense provides a spark with the pick six, and then it was just about over from there. Two long drives that sealed the game away for Penn State there.
I do wonder to jump in there on the pick six.
Yeah,
and I do have a direct line into the booth. I suppose.
You do.
But what were they trying to accomplish throwing the ball on 3rd and 14 from their own 8
That's
yard
what I was going to say. If you know that this guy, Braden Law, he's good for at least a boneheaded pick every game. He's done it every game he's in. And you're at 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12, maybe. It might have been even longer than that. They had lost yardage on 2 consecutive runs to get to that 3rd down. And deep in your own territory.
And they did.
Certainly, especially with the lead, you'd think they would have been a little bit more conservative, run it, punt it away. The punter was having an amazing game. He was booting the hell out of that ball. I think Franklin called him their MVP at halftime. The punter's their MVP. And Bo eventually had some awesome drives. Great to see him come out and put the tee, and not on his back, but really, we thought we were in for another Taquan Roberson situation, Iowa 2021, there for a second. It looked like in the first couple of drives, but he settled in.
And that is the lowest of praise, because that was hard to watch.
That is not praise at all. That is. Well, I guess you're saying he did that. The fact that he didn't do that, yes, that's no bar clear.
That 21 game, that was an about face right there.
That was disgusting, and Franklin vowed that he would never be caught in that situation again. And to his credit, they didn't fold here. Obviously, that was the number 2 team in the country, I think, at the time, Iowa. Not that they would end up that way, but
2 in the polls.
2 in the country. Number 2 in the country.
Yeah, probably about 14 in Vegas.
Yeah, true. Penn State, they gutted out the win. Prabula showed that he could that Ohio State has to prepare for him this week, which is great. And they're going to have to be splitting time, like we've talked about with Marcel Reed and Wigman. Now teams are going to have to prepare for him, along with Drew, who by all accounts looked fairly good and was not limited in the 20 minutes of practice time that the reporters were able to see today. He's doing some ball carrier drills and jumping onto the pad, and the throws that he was making did not look like there were any issues. He was wearing sweatpants to conceal a brace that was underneath there, but it looked like his throws weren't getting hindered. Obviously, there's no bullets flying. There's no bodies flying at him. So we'll see. Good for Bo. I will say he's really zipped in probably 3 passes that I don't know is the best thing that he converted them. Obviously it's awesome that he converted them because they were pivotal to getting those 2 game-winning drives or those 2 dagger drives. But I think he will be emboldened, and I really hope that he doesn't try to make those same throws this week, because he's not fitting in against Ohio State, where he was able to complete them against Wisconsin. But good win on the road, and obviously we're very excited about what should be yet another great opportunity to finally get Ohio State.
I watched that game. I was standing next to I was behind the bar. Devaney was sitting at the bar, and when Bo was slinging those tight window throws, he was saying the same thing. So yeah, it's great, but he doesn't want him to think he can do this every time now, because it could get a little sketchy. But we'll see. We might see on Saturday. We might talk about that more in a little under a half hour. So let's get to the Week 10 rundown.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Before we do, your usual news and notes. One thing up there, 2 things in my head. One, if you notice the slate this week, which as I go through setting up our slate, I go all teams and I scroll down and start filling them in. And I noticed the last game was 8 o'clock.
Yeah, that's it. It's weird.
I was like, what? I thought I was missing something. I checked my search bar, my search parameters. Nope. This is the first time since Halloween of 2009, there's no kickoff after 8 o'clock on a Saturday night.
Weird.
Weird.
Very weird.
They're scared of Game 7. They don't want to compete with Game 7.
Could be it. Also, since we're talking about scheduling there was a leak of sorts today about Miami Notre Dame next year, kick off the season. I know
Is it a leak? It seemed pretty substantial. Or is it?
I didn't see it anywhere else. And to be fair, I didn't go back.
Can we get through this season first?
Agreed. But Miami would be fun. I still hold out hope for LSU.
Are you still rotating? Like, how many? They still do the same thing where they have to play 6 ACC teams, or is that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another option was Stanford, but they don't want another ACC team. But now Miami would be another ACC team, so that's why I didn't know how real it was. We'll see. Indeed, let's get to this year, and I don't have any new updates on Connor Wigman. I didn't look. No new story for him this week. We'll get back to. I'll find something for next week.
All right.
Have it. Check the standings here. Fine last week. Nothing crazy either way for us. So let's try and bring some bacon home this week with a tighter slate, but 2 big Holy Try games. Start off with Ole Miss traveling to Fayetteville, laying 7 against the Pitman. But just off the top, I mean, SEC home dogs this year.
Yeah, this is easy for me. I like Pittman a lot. I've liked him all year. And Lane has not looked good at all.
Yeah, I'm still a little bitter about the Pitman sticking up Mike Keister a couple weeks ago with that LSU.
Oh yeah,
felt pretty strong. I almost locked him up. I feel like, but I did not.
That's +3.
Yeah, so I'm going Lane Train here. To I mean, it'll be something stupid like Jackson Dart's just gonna get hot for a quarter, and yeah.
I hope not. I jumped on the early line again, +8 on the CLV. The CLV last week, the +10 did me no use in Bloomington, and the +7 did save me from with a push there in the Sparty Michigan game. So
yeah, people always talk about CLV, but on the other end of that, market entry, just as important.
Just as important. I've got the +8 here, so I'll ride with Pittman and continue to ride with Pittman here with the +7.
Judge thought he had another one. Well, the crowd did. I'm
already firing the Jets already getting warmed up here. We're going back to LA here.
Looks like that way. I'm going to stick with the season long. I thought Pittman was gone by Halloween, so he made it. So I guess I can jump off now since he did make that. He did clear the hurdle.
He did it.
So yeah, you know what? He made it to Halloween. I was wrong. Congrats to the Pitman. Dan, like we said there with Dart, can get hot at any time. There's a nice pun in there somewhere. I'll take the Hogs to cover, but Ole Miss wins.
All right.
Commander-in-Chief battle, Air Force, Army. The Cadets laying 22. I'm laying them. I mean, Army stomped Navy stomped Ass Force.
Yeah.
Army knows that. Army saw what happened last week with Navy. They know that this is their time to be the one true academy.
Yeah. And that is and this Ass Force team is truly Ass Force this year.
Yeah, they are.
1-6. Yikes.
They lost to Wyoming by 12, so there you go. So if you guys take Ass Force, you're crazy.
Yep. What do you think the line is going to be? Obviously, the Navy one was 13 and a half, 14, and you had all those turnovers. where do you think the Army one's going to fall based on that? You think they're going to move it a lot?
Oh, against Notre Dame?
Yeah, against Notre Dame.
I think it'll open at. I think they'll open the line 15.
15, that's it. I'll take it again.
Do you think they've got Navy a little bit higher or a little bit lower than Army?
I think they do. I think they have Navy a
I
little
think they
lower.
probably have them the same, but based off of this one, they're not.
People maybe they'll think people will think they'll come back and try again. I don't know. Maybe people. Yeah, I'll bump it to 16. I think.
Yeah,
And that's about what it was for the other game, right?
that's 13.5 for Navy. 14.
It's
Did
probably
it open at 16?
I think we picked it at
We picked it at
That's
13.5.
it'll be up there. I mean, Notre Dame's gonna have
it was
that.
13. Yeah.
Notre Dame's gonna be in that danger zone the next 3 weeks with Virginia, Florida State, Virginia, and Army are all gonna be all around 16 to 20. Danger zone.
Danger.
Then SC end of the year. Looking at Sagarin, it was probably going to be around 6. So right there with what Penn State opened at, and we'll see where the money takes it.
There we go.
We'll see. We will get to that. Burt catching 2.5 at home.
At home. Interesting. Minnesota laying the wood to Locks. I don't know what Locks has been doing after that. They get absolutely shellacked by Northwestern at home. Then they take down USC at home, and then they go and get absolutely shellacked on the road to Minnesota. Fleck, where do you guys stand on Fleck here? He had a bunch of turnovers against the Terps last week.
I don't know. I don't really follow much Minnesota or Illinois.
Yeah, the cross country back here, a little disheartened. Illinois still ranked. I will go with Burt at home here and plus the points, but I don't know if there's any. Is there any injury news here? I'll go.
That's what I'm wondering. I'm trying to Google that now, actually.
Yeah, because this seems strange for them to get points, but I'll take them with points at home. I would love for Penn State to keep a ranked team in their
I like Burt's
on their resume.
pieces.
Yeah, me too.
I don't like the trenches or anything. I mean, I know Fleck's got Taylor. I'm gonna side with Vegas here. If they're making it this line, then I'll ride it.
Yeah.
I think it's a field goal game either way. Let's just say Minnesota wins by a field goal then.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to row.
We're rowing. Sticking in the Big Ten, Oregon traveling to Michigan. We mentioned earlier, Tuttle out, retired, Orgy out or benched. Davis Warren, quarterback.
In.
Davis Warren in, yes. Oregon comes in looking much better than they did in September.
Are they peaking too early?
Perhaps. 14.5. It's a lot of points here. I took Michigan at home against Texas. Did not work. I just cannot take Michigan. I just can't do it. This is probably as square as it gets, but I'm going to lay the points with Oregon.
I agree.
Sometimes you have to. I mean, square pays.
Michigan is gross. Will Johnson not healthy.
Or just choosing not to play.
It could be either or. I will say, on your note on Underwood earlier in the production meeting, Michigan with a quarterback decommitment just this evening. So we're in the tea leaves here.
We'll see if Oregon jumps in.
I will go Oregon as well.
All right.
Clean sweep Napier. Credit to him. Thought he'd be gone by now too.
His team's fighting.
Going into the Hedges, getting 16.5 against Kirby and the Dogs.
He's not going to the Hedges.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Duval.
Going to
Duval.
Duval County.
Which will not be hosting it in, what was it, 26 or 27? Or both due to renovations.
They're
You see
getting
that
a nice new field. Where's the
They-
game going then? Are they going home and home?
One to Atlanta, one to Tampa.
Oh, okay. I think I did see the Atlanta part. Yeah.
Unfortunately, not home and home.
Hmm.
They could have done home and home and made the right decision, but they didn't.
I am going. Well, this just triggered my memory. I listened to a capper this week say the 2022 Georgia team would be 10-point favorites over any team in this year. Per
Neutral field, yeah, right.
per power ratings, yes.
All right. Wow.
That's how kind of
Dominant, or how
Dominant.
shitty this year is.
and wide open this year. How parity filled this year is. And he went a step farther to say that 2022 year with Hendon Hooker, Tennessee, would be a top power rated team this year.
Wow.
I mean, everyone's ratings are a little bit different, but I think it mostly checks out as far as the parity and how good that Georgia team was. But that being said, I am taking Napier here.
I'm taking Nate as well. I think he's got enough.
I've been going against Nate.
You've been going against him. I've been with him. I've been with him for a little bit here. I had him against Tennessee and UCF. I think they're playing hard for him. Obviously, I think that freshman quarterback's got them with a little bit of a spark, and I think they lose by 2 touchdowns here.
Mm-hmm.
I think they lose by 3 touchdowns. I'm going to keep going against them.
You're due. You are due.
It's fine. Speaking of due, are the Hoosiers due for a close one? We'll see. Traveling to East Lansing. Sparty coming off that loss to Michigan. Indiana off the win over Washington. Sparty catching 8 at home against the Signetti. Rourke thinking he's still out.
They said that he's probably still out.
Questionable.
Question. I mean, Taven played pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
They're due. They're so due to be coming down to earth here, right? And you're getting over a touchdown. Everything in my body's telling me to take Sparty here at home, but they're going to be down from an emotional loss to Michigan, and not that it was necessarily close, but that's their biggest game of the year every year. I could see Indiana coming out and jumping on them again, and kind of similar to how they rode it out for that Washington game, just kind of at 10 points the whole way through. So I'll take Sparty to not cover. I'll take Indiana here to cover, even though I want to pick Sparty.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Sparty take here, but you can roll a tape the last few weeks. I'm just gonna ride Signetti till he lets me down. So that's as simple as it gets.
I'm going to try and cherry pick for the second week with Signetti. I will say Sparty loses by a field goal. The dream season continues for the Hoosiers.
There it is.
Great game coming up here. A&M at Scar.
What time is this one?
I don't know. No earlier than 3:30. I'm checking right now. If this loads. Who's playing quarterback for A&M?
7:30.
Oh, yeah. That's sick. Where's Bryce gonna be rocking?
Sandstorm, baby.
A&M's rolling. You got the quarterback roulette going, but the roll, like we said earlier, could be a little. They've escaped one or two. Remember back in like week 2, they escaped against. I don't remember who it was, but they are 7-1. Scar coming off a bye. The D line is nice. Both D lines are nice. I'm going to back Lenore Sellers to have a good game. And take Scar on the field.
Would you like to know who they escaped that you were thinking of?
Can you give me the conference?
I think this would give it away because it's a powerhouse. It is a MAC school.
Oh, I forget who it wasn't. Bowling Green was nowhere in the way. It was who was it? Not Toledo.
It was Bowling Green.
It was Bowling Green.
A powerhouse. Yeah.
It was right after they played Penn State.
Yeah.
We just mentioned.
It was like 26-24, I think. Well, it was like 26-20, I think. And then
That was the score, yeah.
Well, Bowling Green does have the future Mackey Award winner. What do you think of that, Cam?
I don't think so. I beg to differ.
You don't think?
He is amazing. He is amazing. He is amazing.
You
all on
saw,
the field against each other.
you saw Fannin up close.
I wasn't there that day. No.
Yeah, he's nice. Yeah, A&M.
But I think Warren had a better game than him that day.
I don't think so.
I think they both had like 100-something yards.
I know Fannin did. Yeah, we'll have to check the tape. I'm going Scar. I think this A&M run comes to an end, but I'm probably going to take him against Texas.
That guy is 4th in the country in receiving yards. That is insane.
He's amazing.
Oh my god, I didn't even know he was, to be honest. But
Tyler Warren had 146. Fannin had 137 that day.
What about schedule adjusted? Fannin's better then. No, both. I mean, I've said it on here. I love Warren. I love Fannin's awesome. They're the 2 best tight ends, especially with RJ Maryland out for Smoo. Those guys are awesome.
Speaking of great tight ends, Penn State hosting Olish this weekend ahead of his official visit to Notre Dame next week, I think. Or is it 2 weeks? I forget. The Michigan commit that is looking like he wants to leave. He was in Oregon this past weekend, in Alabama for Alabama, Georgia.
Wow.
But Oregon looks like they're going to get a Washington tight end to flip to them, and Alabama, right after he visited, got a commitment from another tight end. So those two quickly off his list, and now he's on back to Penn State, who his parents, I think his mom went to Penn State and grew up rooting for Penn State, but I think he's looking for a reason not to go to Penn State. And Notre Dame's a great reason. They're great tight ends, beautiful, beautiful tight ends at Notre Dame. Great tight ends.
Wow.
Right.
Man, we can't get to next week fast.
This guy's got 400 more receiving yards than Warren.
I'm telling you, he's so good.
This guy. I'm looking. Yeah, Warren's. Obviously the giant game against USC.
And the giant game, and when he raised his level of play when he saw Fannin across the field
against Bowling Green.
Yeah, he raised his level of play against Fannin across the field. Exactly.
We didn't know at the time, but we had the tight end alpha matchup back there in Happy Valley.
Oh yeah.
How big is this guy? Let's see here.
He looks smaller than he looks like a 6'4",
230. He's got the Gesicki build.
Yeah.
Slot receiver. Looks like a slot receiver from the upper deck.
Mm-hmm.
I heard he might grad transfer to Notre Dame next year.
Wow, that would be good for Penn trying to get Olish.
Well, I'm on the Cox. Who are you guys on? Going against my own SOS.
Yeah, I'll go Cox here as well.
I was going to go Cox, but I feel like this maneuver. This is all goes back to the Pitman in that LSU game.
Yeah.
Just getting nipped in all these spots. So I will go A&M with whatever they do quarterback wise. In the 5th choice for the Heisman. To some.
What the heck was
If
that?
he plays. If he plays.
If he plays, yeah.
We don't even know.
That was an odd play in the Fall Classic.
I didn't see it.
Betts hit a weak ground ball to first, and I guess Cole just didn't cover the bag.
Saving his energy.
They're already on the game 6.
Well, bases are still loaded, so it could come back to haunt him here very shortly. That was super weird. All right, one more to go before we try. Clemson hosting Louisville. Clemson laying 10.5. Look, I know Clemson's been on this warpath. They haven't beaten anyone with, I think, winning record.
Probably not.
And I've realized right now as I'm saying this, I just cannot quit this Louisville team. So I'm going to take the 10.5.
Oh,
I just can't. I think they're better than they are.
I think so too. If this was like a little bit lower, if this was inside of 10, I would take Clem, but I still take Clem. I'm taking Clem.
I am as well, taking Clemp. Yeah, they're fine. Louisville's fine. Their quarterback sucks.
Oh,
Okay.
all right.
On to it. I think we're going to pull an audible here. We'll let Dan go first because I don't want to.
Yeah, let me get out of the way here.
I don't want to force Dan to follow Can's just trench digging here.
I'm not gonna really go too far deep.
Like I said, I don't have too much to say. I saw Jennings got cleared for SMU. Phil Steele reporting. Holstein and Jennings are clear. Like
Okay, we got
3
both
minutes ago,
Q1.
because I was just trying to look it up to see what the latest was. Obviously, we touched on their weird outcome or weird performance rather against Duke. Paired with an equally weird performance to the positive against Syracuse. And I honestly, I have no clue. I'm not afraid of, despite what the last 2 weeks are. Obviously, they barely had the ball against Syracuse because, as we mentioned, McCord with the pick sixes just kept getting the ball. He kept re-teeing, yet had to take the penalty stroke of giving the pick six, I suppose is the golf analogy there. But didn't have a great offensive performance against Cal. Offensive line injuries. Still a concern for Pitt. It looks like they'll be without 2 of their regular starters, but obviously we won't actually know that until kickoff. I just would like to say we've already touched on and made our jokes about the first set of playoff rankings. Thank God that they're not till next week. And this will be the final data point that really need to see for Pitt's season. Not that they couldn't lose to Louisville or really any of the last 3 games other than Clemson. 3 of the last 4 games other than Clemson. But at least this will be a road game against a team that's been pretty good for most of the year, unless they're playing Nevada. I can't stand the pity party. Pitty party. With this stuff, with the rankings and the TV slot. Like, yeah, it is in a vacuum, it's stupid that they would have A&M in South Carolina on ABC instead of Pitt and SMU. But who really cares that much? So I think that where I come down on the smooth team is I just don't like what I saw all this, as I've already joked about Nevada. And I haven't seen the level other than I suppose you could say the Stanford, oddly enough. Like that's actually a recent relevant performance that they would go in there and absolutely smack around Stanford. as they probably should have. But these aren't like obviously Florida State. What are you getting out of BYU at home? What does that really mean? And I know there's been the quarterback changes, but it's just I don't get. I just don't get it. And Rhett Lashley, what has that guy done in his coaching career? So I have a lot of doubts that this team should actually come in and or stay at home and take care of business comfortably with Pitt. So, oh my gosh, is this game about to be tied?
No way.
Is he going to score from first? Yes, he is. Tie up.
Oh my gosh, Coltrane. Anyway, so I will go with Pitt to win. What is the over/under in this game again?
Love it. I can tell you it opened.
Is it 60? North. I keep guessing around
Opened at
60.
59.5.
Yeah. At 58.5. So yeah, I'll go 30-27 Pitt. Gets the offense going. Maybe 8 turnover or 2. But yeah, I would assume if there's ever a time you want to get right, it would be Saturday evening in Dallas, Texas. What a bizarre world we're living in that I'm talking about Pitt playing at SMU, a pivotal game in the season. But that was always kind of I know I initially picked it as a loss, but I'm gonna have fun with it as long as it lasts.
I'm hesitant to go that far as
Yeah.
the W, but I'm not ruling it out. So I think it'll be a close game.
Yeah.
I just you mentioned the game against the woke agenda. It still leaves me a little leery.
Oh yeah, this
here.
is all of like if they play better
Yes, yeah.
offensively. with that in mind.
Reed has been awesome. So,
But even not for the last couple games, he's had a few big moments, but that's it.
he's been awesome, but he has
It's
been
the offensive line. If you come in and they lose by whatever 10 to 20 points or whatever, I would say that's probably I would hope the worst case scenario is they lose by 20 points. That's probably because they couldn't move the ball and the defense actually they're damn broke a couple times. So I just don't know. Like I don't view this smooth team as a cut above.
I don't either. That's why I'll give Smooth the home field bump here.
Yeah.
Say they won by 3, but I mean Pitt is super live. Obviously, it's spread 7.5.
Like, are they excited? I don't like what are they excited? Smooth fans. Do they have a presence that anyone can gauge their temperature? I don't understand. It's such a weird thing going back all those years.
I think they're excited.
Yeah.
They basically paid their way into the ACC with all those rich donors.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't even want money. We don't need the conference shares. We just want to play with you guys.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, screw it. I'm gonna go the other way with the field goal. Pitt by 3.
Oh, okay. Either way, you'll take the points.
Definitely taking those points. Yeah.
I will also take the points. Dan, you're taking the points because you're not impressed by Smooth.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't view them as a cut above, and because my football team is undefeated, I will again try and enjoy the ride. And I'm gonna sit here and pick it to lose. And
if there were ever a team to get
7-0, what the first time in like 40 years? Let's ride this.
Something like that. Yeah, they keep going with this because they haven't had the idiot, despite their efforts, mind you. They've had 3 idiot moments so far this season, that all of which have not
bit them.
Come home came back to bite them in the form of a loss.
Right. Got all right. Well, we got the big one then.
You mean the big noon? The big nude.
Big nude. Big nude.
Are you excited anyway?
I'm excited. I'll open this up here with a few statements. Yes, we're going to jump to the very end. For this weekend, I'll say if we win,
Oh,
Are you? What is the? Will there be people storming the field?
yeah, I think there will be.
Part two.
Are you serious?
Part
Yeah.
two. Will you?
No, I can't get down there from up there. No.
Okay.
Hold on, wait. Why would people storm the field?
I think it's because of all the pent up anger and desperation after losing all these games to them, specifically. The fact that it is a top 5 team, and I think basically because they haven't done it since that 2016 game. I think that the students will storm it.
I think there's zero doubt they will. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let me be the first to say that would be embarrassing. Is the higher ranked team, and someone that could not be more up on Mount Pius when it comes to college football. So
Yeah.
that was very surprising. I almost fell out of my chair when it was. I thought you were joking, AY.
No, I think that they will, especially after you've seen so many teams. Like, I feel like you see it every week now. With it, obviously, some are more warranted than others, but I see it.
If it were a tradition, like obviously, what's Clemson does that.
no, yeah, well, it's not. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You see, like, and granted, it's after like a Hail Mary, but like, I think Colorado had that field stormed after the Baylor game, and there's I think they students just want to get on the field. They don't care.
Okay, I have 2 more questions for you. Then the floor is yours. I just want to get definitive answers here for
Yes.
our listeners. Who takes the first snap as quarterback?
Oh yeah.
From what I've seen today, I think Drew Allar will.
Okay. And last question: if you could have only one quarterback dressed for this
It
game,
could be Tyler Warren though.
that's why I said quarterback. That's exactly why I said quarterback. Yes. If you could only dress one QB for this game,
Yeah.
which one would you? With the current situation, with Allar's potential injury,
Uh-huh.
if you could only dress one quarterback, who would you dress?
Bo, I think.
Okay. I mean, there's layers to that, but
Yeah.
okay. Let's.
He's the one that's fully healthy.
I don't think that's. Yeah, I don't think you're wrong there. I don't think that's a bad answer. Okay. Set the stage here. We got Penn State catching 3 at home. Big nude, Ohio State in town.
Oh,
I'm not going to dive too deep here.
I'm not going to get first top 5 matchup.
Yeah,
would be
don't worry. Yeah, you can. I mean, do what you got to do. The floor is yours.
Since 1999. I was surprised to find that this is only the second top 5 matchup between Penn State and Ohio State. I think of like the 30 however odd meetings, at least one of them has been in the top 10 like 27 or 28 times out of it. So it's always very highly anticipated. One of the nationally circled games of the year all the time. You felt last year Penn State had as good a chance as they've had probably since 2017 to beat the Buckeyes. They had more paths to victory, I think, last year. This year, it seems as things have opened up again for them. You've got obviously the much talked about offensive line issues that the Buckeyes are dealing with now with their starting left tackle out for the year after the Oregon game, and his replacement seemingly out for not for the year, but seemingly out for the game this week.
It was pretty much bench too.
But I think he's
both these guys
hurt.
are hurt.
Yeah, I think this
The
guy.
guy they brought in moved in, and they moved somebody around, right?
No, well, yeah. So the backup left tackle came in, and he got hurt against Nebraska.
Yeah, but he had I heard he had like the 8th worst grade of all left tackles.
He was very, very bad anyway,
This
even
year.
before he got injured.
Yeah.
And they shifted over the guard. I think that's the approach they're going to take here. Who the guard has not had all that good of a year either. they haven't been able to run the ball at 50 yards, I think, against Nebraska. I think that both combined. I mean, I think Henderson had a long run against Oregon, but if you take out that long run, obviously you can't just take it out. But you take that long run out, and you've got only 50 some odd yards against Oregon as well. It's a defensive line, and they're playing a defensive line that's probably the best that they played against the run. Oregon has some good people in there, but I think they were out Birch as well on the end. They're going to have their hands full, especially as they're shifting people around. It's going to be tough for them. I think that's a big reason and a big counter to the offensive woes that Penn State's been dealing with. Obviously, they've had to adjust after they had their All-American safety out in the first game of the year, after the first game of the year. But the Wisconsin game had the injuries mount, the aforementioned LR being out for the second half of the game. Dennis Sutton went out at the half as well, tried to come in for one play coming out of it, and he went out right after that. It looked like a groin. The biggest one, I think, even more impactful than either of those two, which is surprising because they're two of the most pivotal positions on the field. One of them, the most pivotal, I think, with the quarterback, is Anthony Donko, Penn State starting right tackle and best run blocker, went out. He's been dealing with hurt shoulder for much of this year, but I think he hurt his ankles, or it was a leg injury at least. It wasn't enough to fully keep him out. He didn't play almost the entire game after the injury, but he did come in for some jumbo packages, which is interesting because, they still brought him in for those, but just not for regular downs. I think Penn State's going to have to be able to control the ball on the ground here against them, especially with Drew being limited or seemingly limited. If he's in there, they're going to have to lean on that run game more than maybe they have been. And after the first couple of games, they haven't had the same success. Nick Singleton's been dinged up, and you've seen the running game kind of sputter a little bit. And so it's going to be really tough against the Buckeye front that's pretty good. The defensive ends obviously have been much ballyhooed. They talked about them coming back, but they haven't really had much success from a pass rush standpoint. They didn't have I don't think they had a sack against Oregon. They had one against Michigan. It's been what Buckeye fans have been very, very angry about is with Larry Johnson is this lack of pressure that he's getting, and Penn State's going to have to deal with obviously JTT in the game that he had 2 years ago. Sawyer is pretty good, but they haven't really lived up to it this year, and it'd be interesting if Penn State can get by with if they have to play Rucci more, who's the third tackle. He came in and stepped in decently against Wisconsin, his old team. But Donko, I think, is going to be a big piece here. Their Ohio State secondary, which came in and looked pretty good, has had issues. Obviously, they had a pretty bad game against Dylan Gabriel in that receiving stable for Oregon. Penn State does not have any.
That's putting it lightly.
Yeah, I don't think you would confuse Oregon's wide receivers with Penn State's though. So I think
yes,
you'll have to. Well, that's a good thing to see. How many shots, how many plays can Penn State capitalize on? Raiola had a couple that he missed against Ohio State. I know he had a wide open guy that he just plain missed that would have been a touchdown, and a couple more that were badly thrown balls. So it seems like, and I think maybe that's more comparable of a wide receiving stable is Nebraska's guys. If they can get it, I have faith that Kolonicki can scheme a couple of the guys open, especially with all the attention they're going to be paying to Warren, the second best tight end in the country. You're gonna. I think the key will be getting one or two big plays, and where's it going to come from? Is it going to be Liam Clifford down the seam? He's done a pretty good job on some of those deep posts right down the seam. Is it going to be Omari Evans? He's been a little bit quiet the last couple of plays, but it's interesting because Penn State and their receivers, Aller's really picked the open guys and thrown to him. If you look at like last week in Raiola, he threw a bunch of balls up, 50-50 balls, and they got called for pass interference. I think the one guy, Davidson, got called for 3 of them last game. And I heard, they're making him wear gloves so he doesn't hold and grab on receivers this week in practice. Aller doesn't really do that, right? Unless you're open, he's not throwing the ball, which is a good and bad thing. Maybe he has to take a couple of more risks and throw up a 50-50 ball here against this OSU secondary to see if they can get induce a penalty. I think Penn State matches up decently on both sides. I think it'll be a very low-scoring game. Will Howard coming in with his stupid comments. Nobody wanted you out of high school. Kansas State wanted you, and then a bunch of Ivies. So don't you can.
What did he say?
He said he's a big homecoming, and he's playing against the team that he grew up rooting for, and they didn't think he was good enough, and we'll find out next week if he was.
Stupid comments.
It's stupid comment. It's all great. I one thing I'm very worried about. I mentioned before, if Bo's if he's been emboldened by some of his good play against Wisconsin, he's got to be conservative. I think that'll be very good for a change of pace and opening it up for the running game. The other thing I'm very worried about, the defensive ends. I think they're going to have a lot of draw plays and trying to take advantage of Penn State's aggressiveness. I think if Ryan Day and Chip Kelly are as good offensive minds as they are known to be, they'll be trying to scheme and cover up some of these offensive line issues that they have, and whether that be through misdirection. I'm worried about Penn State's guys getting too far upfield, especially if Denai Dennis Sutton isn't in there and you got a backup guy that may not have as many reps. You're going to get them some defensive ends a little bit too far upfield and running underneath some screens and draw plays. I'm worried about that. You saw Penn State get victimized by that a ton last year, actually. Not as much this year, but again, if Denai isn't in there, if you got a guy that's less experienced holding down an edge, I'm worried about that. And not just the screens and the run plays, the draw plays, but the quarterback, Will Howard. He's known as a runner when he came in. He hasn't really had to do that much. They didn't even really run him that much against Oregon, aside from that last play of the game, which I don't think it was a called run to begin with. But, where is he going to be improvising? If Penn State's defense ends get a little bit, you got to stay in your rush lanes. If they're getting too far upfield, Penn State's linebackers have been decent this year. Earl Haas, I think, has been hampered by something. He doesn't seem too right. He's always like one or two plays at least every game. You see a couple of plays where you're like, what is he doing there? Why is he a step slow? You got to be on your P's and Q's here with a running quarterback. And obviously that receiving stable at Oregon isn't going to be confused with the one at Penn State, but the one at Ohio State, you could be confusing it with, I think. That's a very good group of wide receivers, and they're going to be able to get theirs. So I think it's incumbent on Penn State to get that pressure against an offensive line and not let Will Howard get comfortable back there and be able to deliver to those receivers. If he gets it, I expect a really quick passing game similar to what USC was employing against Penn State. And hopefully Tom Allen's got the answers and the learning experience from that game to come back with an answer here. I expect a lot of quick passing and trying to get the ball into their receivers' hands. Hopefully, from a Penn State fans' perspective, not too many of those deep balls, the long plays that take time to develop. We can't afford to do that, especially against an offensive line this shitty. You got to be able to make Will Howard feel you. And a couple hits early, very important. I do see this one being a low-scoring game. I think the way Penn State's offense is, it's very grinded out. Low margin for error, which is frustrating at times. But in a game like this, that's ball control and every possession is important. They're used to playing this way. I think it'll do them well. I think it'll be a low-scoring game, 21-17, something like that either way, which is why I'll take the points here, the 3. I know it was at 4.5 earlier. If it's not now, when will it ever be, right? And so I will take the points. I'll also take Penn State outright. I'll go 21.
Ooh, there it is.
21-20.
Okay.
If that happens, please don't storm the field. That's my PSA.
I can't make it down there.
Well, no, I mean everybody.
Oh,
As far as I will go 24-17 Ohio State. AY went through our trends with who we pick, a little analysis over, well, it was just this season, but I feel like I said the last handful of seasons, ever since it became evident one James Franklin's trends with covering against, the non upper echelon or the non-top dogs. But I pretty much always pick against them when it's either Ohio State or Michigan.
yep. Got to show it.
I will continue with that trend.
I think Ryan Day is 0
But they've had good
0-4 against top 5 teams.
I think it's 1-7.
1-7.
1-7. I don't know who that one is, but
Is it the playoff victory against Clemson?
that would be the one. Yeah. Yeah, 1-7, I think he is. But yeah, as far as the actual analysis goes, Penn State obviously playing good defense, unless it's against the best tight end in the country. I'll use that bit one more time. Playing good defense, and then offensively, odd. I've said this before about Pitts too. Odd sequencing of output, but still, having
it's
success.
almost the one play, the pass interference down at the goal line against USC, or the drop from Jules. It's always one play that just absolutely derails them.
Yeah,
it's like a lesser version of Washington, basically.
Yeah. Hey, who are you going with? Because you never pick Penn State.
Never.
It's true.
As we established.
As we've established, I picked Penn State to cover one time this year, and they did not do it. You could argue I have the pulse of Penn State, having the best record in Penn State games this year between us. So let me tell you where I'm going. I've been consuming a lot of information this week, honestly.
In preparation for boots on the ground.
And prep for boots, just and prep for random conversations I have with whomever. What my analysis has led me down to believe is this: when Ohio State has the ball, we know about the O-line issues. We know about the weapons outside. We need to name him by name. Jeremiah Smith, the guy's
JJ.
We know the weapons: Ibuka, Tate, Henderson, Judkins. We know all that. I still think, perception-wise, at least in the bubble I come from, I think Ohio State's offense overrated.
Ooh.
That might perk you up a little bit, but let me go to when they have the ball. Penn State's defense overrated.
Oh wow!
I think we've seen it against Fannin, which I'll give you an excuse there. That's Fannin.
Yeah, that happened to anybody. That happened in Georgia 2022.
I got you the
Georgia
Fannin
2022
instead
couldn't
of,
stop.
I'm gonna need to get a Fannin tee. Look, we saw it against USC. I know it's on the road, but they didn't really have Penn State didn't really have an answer a lot of time.
If those were all big plays, I felt like.
I
30
think
points,
that's-
30 points, I guess.
But good offense beats good defense. And I think I give despite them both being overrated, I give slight edge to Ohio State's offense. I think they can, like Ken was saying, if Chip Kelly and Ryan Day are as good as we know and think them to be, Tom Allen is good. Koloniki, well, I'll get to him in a minute. I still think Ohio State should be able to, with this roster that costs more than the Detroit Tigers, find a way to move the ball. And on the other side of the ball, when Penn State has the ball, I think Penn State's offense is underrated.
I agree.
I don't think it's not the Lawn Boys. I
It's
think
not explosive, that's for sure.
it's not explosive, but I think it's definitely not the receivers. But I think I just really trust Kotelnicki. And to an extent, I trust Aller. He's not going to make the huge play, the explosive play, but he makes the right decision on his read that is schemed open 9+ times out of 10. He's so good at it.
Yeah.
It's nothing sexy at all, but he knows how to take care of the ball. Look at how many picks he's thrown in his career. Like what? 4?
6.
6? Yeah, exactly.
He had 3 going into the USC game, and he had 3 in the USC.
He doesn't take a ton of chances, but he is just super efficient.
Yeah.
You want to see a big play, but I mean, come on. He's limited on the outside with his receiving core. Maybe they make a guy miss. Ohio State's defense, this is where
the rubber meets the road.
We get to the most overrated of all the overrateds. This defense is overrated.
Whoa.
I'm sick and tired of these. I'm sick and tired of these, seniors of Sawyer and JT.
Came back. The first rounders that came back, you're saying?
Yeah, I'm sick and tired of this narrative, which we'll get to narrative in a minute. This narrative of these guys, no. I'm tired of it. They stink. They don't stink, but they're fine. They're not as good as what they're all chalked up to be. The linebackers, according to the metrics, they've been a mess. You wonder why these corners are on islands all the time? Because the safeties have to help the linebackers out. So who's going to guard Warren over the middle? It's going to be Downs, who is probably the second best player in the field behind Jeremiah Smith. I'll hear arguments otherwise, but I mean, Downs is amazing, but he's got to clean up all his dirty work. If Fleming can just do something, he could have a game. I don't trust it though. I'll tell you right now. The one beauty, one of the beauties of having boots on the ground is you can watch wherever you want. I will be watching Fleming every freaking play. I want to see how he's treated, like after plays. If he's blocking on the run play, I want to see after the whistle blows, is he getting a helmet tap? Is he getting scuffles? I'm just curious. And I want to watch Downs versus Warren if it's going to come to fruition at some point. So we keep him score at home. Penn State's offense, a little underrated. Ohio State's defense, definitely overrated. Other side of the ball, overrated. So I've been going back and forth. I've been flip-flopping like crazy. If not now, when? Right, Ken? I mean, come on. The home field is here. I know it's not a night game, but Ohio State off that Nebraska game. A little something to be desired. But, I mean, look at Penn State escaping USC. Impressive at Wisconsin, but first half was, sluggish. I'm going to tie this back to – I mentioned narrative, but I don't want to mention it because as a Notre Dame fan, I know all about narrative and the playoff and this, that, and the other. Day can't win the big game. Franklin can't win the big game. Whatever. Have fun with that. Someone's going to win a big game here. If not now, when? I mentioned earlier about being political, staying true to yourself. Not flip-flopping. So, like Dan was saying, we've said for how many years now? Until we see it, we're not going to believe it. I will tip my cap. I will tip my cap when proven wrong. And the thing that led me to this,
you're going to have to wear a hat there so you can.
The thing that tipped me to the decision to lay the 3 with Ohio State is this. A few weeks ago, we all took Ohio State to cover the 3.5 at Oregon.
Uh-huh.
Now it's a half point less, and it's the same situation. So are you telling me, do we think Penn State is better than Oregon? I don't think so. Could they win this one-off game? Absolutely. It would. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me in the freaking slightest. But as the simulation runs, say we run 1,000 of them, I think you have to take Ohio State here. If you think they're better than Oregon, you have to think they're better than Penn State. Therefore, I'm going to wait for Jimmy to prove me wrong. It could be in 3 days.
Could be in 3 days.
It could be. So in that case, all that said, I'm going to go Penn State to lose by 4. I really do think it's. I mean, I was flip flopping. I texted Kenny today. Like I'm saying like I'm
deep into the
flip-flopping
bag.
Like I'm flip flopping that much. Ohio State. I think it's gonna be a higher scoring. I thought it was gonna be mucked up until I looked at the defenses, and I think it's gonna be a little higher than that. Ohio State 27, Penn State 23.
What happens if Ohio State wins this game? Both teams then win out in the regular season. Oregon loses like Michigan or Washington, whoever. What happens with the championship?
Here we go to common opponents.
Yeah, I think it would be Oregon and Ohio State then at that point.
I'll have to look at.
So it'd be the three that would go
every
based
conference
off
would
of
be different with their
I
tiebreaker.
think with that one, because it's not a 3-way tie at that point. Ohio State has head-to-head over Penn State, and Oregon has head-to-head over Ohio State.
So that's how they would do it.
I think so. Because it's not really a 3-way tie.
Well, they'd all be 11-1 with one.
Well, they
conference.
would. Right.
We'll have to look into the Big Ten guidelines.
That's the one thing. I mean, I haven't seen that out there as much, but that's the one thing I was wondering.
The way people talking about Penn State being a shoo-in for a home playoff game if they lose this and don't lose the rest, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure they're a shoo-in for a playoff spot if they lose two.
This is where I was going to stop it because I was going to bring this up next.
Yeah.
I don't even think we need to get there yet, but go
We don't need to get there yet.
We don't. I don't want to devalue this game, but Penn State definitely, if they drop this, they're fine.
Yeah.
If they don't drop another, they're fine.
I am fine devaluing this game as much as Dave, his impassioned text that you shared with us.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm already in that mentality of you already get the freebie, but I mean, I see where he's coming from, but it doesn't. It's because if they win this and then say they go 13-0.
Yeah. And then lose their first playoff game.
Yeah.
I see.
The
last
I mean,
thing
I don't know.
You guys with, and that has been giving me worry, and that was brought up to me, is where have we seen this before? A fired up home crowd and a team with the loss coming in that hasn't necessarily played up to their potential. Looks a lot like the Georgia-Texas game, I think. And I'm worried about
that would be miserable if that happened.
Yeah, an Ohio State team that comes in and just absolutely rolls. I mean, that would be devastating.
But
even then, I don't know. I would still just be like, all right, dust it off and then beat, whoever Patsy's.
There is some similarities there with Ohio State putting up a fight at Oregon. Yeah. I mean, yeah, let's be clear. We haven't seen Ohio State. They haven't really exactly flattered, especially last week, but
neither did Georgia before the Texas game.
You would think a team.
That's why they were so.
Team this talented, you think they're sitting on something at some point, right?
Yeah.
But Georgia was.
Is Ohio State? They're right there with Georgia, right? With talent wise.
Yeah.
They could be sitting on something.
I don't know. Yeah, they had the close game, the 1-point loss. Georgia had a close loss to Alabama, even though it wasn't close the whole way, like Ohio State's. Georgia had the close win and gross games against Kentucky. And
okay, you're right.
Who else did they play in between then? I forget.
Mississippi State.
Or no? I mean that one wasn't. I mean, it was closer game than people think. We'll see. We'll see. We've dove too deeply. We have dug too deep.
An hour and a half, 90 minutes.
Yeah,
No, this is it's a big spot, Cam.
this is a big spot. If now, when?
If now, when?
If not now, when? If not
Well,
now.
yeah. I would say, but just to the point about if that does happen when you describe the blowout, since, as we drift towards an NFL style setup, I will remind some of the 2005 Super Bowl winning Pittsburgh Steelers who were demolished, granted on the road, to the Indianapolis Colts, came back and beat in the playoffs
In RCA.
in the RCA Dome.
In the RCA on a
That was the Vandershank game.
that was
the
a-
Steelers.
that was the
Believe me,
the
I was
scoop-
there.
The scoop and shoestring tackle by Ben.
The hand
The
of God.
scoop and
from Ben.
shoestring.
So there you go.
The bus saved.
Indeed.
Where would the bus's legacy be had Ben
They
not-
lost that game.
Yeah, had Ben not tackled him there.
I know.
Had Ben not shoestringed him.
It would solely be in South Bend.
So anyway, that's
All right, let's get to some locks and get out of here.
Yep.
yeah. I will lock up. Oregon, unless somebody else had that in mind.
I will lock up Kirk. I've seen enough of this Wisconsin offense and this terrible quarterback. I think he will take care of business at home. I've got Kirk -3, Iowa -3 against Wisconsin.
I like it. Just missed the cut with NC State laying the 9.5 home against Stanford. The body clock, noon kick. Not a good spot for Stanford. But I'm going to squat up with Dan here and take the first half, Oregon, 8.5.
What's that at? Was that 7.5, 8?
8.5.
8.5.
I think it's going to be just. I think it's going to be two touchdowns. So I'm not worried about the key number there on 7. Yeah, I think just they come in here and just maybe Cam's right, peaking too early, but that's fine for a lock.
All right, we got one in here. The Jet is getting ready to warm up again.
There you have it. A little beefy, but hey, it's a big week for Holy Try, so let's enjoy it.
Big week. Representation.
Representation, indeed. Looking forward to it. For me, AY from the People State Capital, the Blue State, the Commonwealth, Pennsylvania. To my west, Deberg,
Good night, all.
and Can. To my east.
Safe travels, everybody making it in for the game on I-80. Coming up from 322 and in Harrisburg area, 78 all the way over. Safe travels, everybody.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the weekend slate. And look forward to the playoff rankings because I'm sure everyone will agree on where teams are slotted. Have a good one.
Damn it. End.